I will express my thoughts as succinctly as I can, but I'm honored to be the co-chair of the CBC Special Order Hour and to serve under the dynamic leadership of the CBC Chair, Joyce Beatty, who is a force to be reckoned with, and thank you for affording me the honor to co-chair the CBC Special Order Hour. I want to echo what our Majority Whip said, that we cannot afford to take an obsolete view of infrastructure. Infrastructure is about more than roads and bridges. It's about the quality of the air we breathe and the water we drink. It's about access to the internet, especially in a world of remote learning and telehealth. It is about safe, decent, affordable housing, which is a human right. Abraham Maslow spoke about a hierarchy of needs. And the highest need we have is self-actualization. And in order to actualize ourselves, we have to meet our most fundamental needs, our need for employment and housing and transit and education. That's what we mean by infrastructure. Infrastructure is not simply physical, but it's social and human. It is that which enables us to become the best version of ourselves. The component of infrastructure that matters most to me is affordable housing. I would not be where I am today were it not for affordable housing and the stability that it gave me and my family. For me, affordable housing is not simply brick and mortar, but it's the foundation on which we build a better life for ourselves and our family. It's often said that the South Bronx is the poorest congressional district in America, but I think of the South Bronx as the essential congressional district because it's home to essential workers who put their lives at risk during the peak of the pandemic so that the rest of the city and the country could safely shelter in place. And I believe deeply that the essential workers of America, the essential workers of New York City, should be able to afford to live in a city that cannot survive and succeed without them. Now, the American Jobs Plan proposes hundreds of billions of dollars in new funding for affordable housing. But just as important as the dollar amount is how those dollars are spent. If we simply invest those dollars in expanding housing supply without expanding housing subsidy, then we run the risk of creating housing that leaves behind the lowest income Americans. We run the risk of creating the appearance rather than the reality of affordable housing. And when the subject of affordable housing is raised, the question that often comes to mind is affordable for whom? We need deep affordability. We need real affordability. And the best path to deep affordability, to affordability for all Americans, is housing vouchers for all. A housing voucher ensures that you pay no more than 30% of your income toward your rent. And I'm honored to sponsor legislation with Chair Waters and Subcommittee Chair Cleaver, which would expand the Section 8 program and establish housing vouchers as an entitlement, as a human right codified in federal law. Housing vouchers for all takes on a special urgency because we are facing the greatest affordability crisis that we have seen since the Great Depression. There are 37 million Americans who pay more than a third of their income toward their rent. There are 17 million Americans who pay more than half their income toward their rent. And that does not even factor in the cost of utilities and food and transportation and healthcare. There are millions of Americans who are living on the brink of foreclosure and eviction in the midst of COVID-19. And at the heart of the affordability crisis is a gap between supply and demand. The demand for affordable housing far exceeds the supply. And I'll provide you with some statistics in New York City. In New York City, there are 1 million households earning at or below 50% of AMI, which is about $60,000 a year. but there are only 420,000 units affordable to those households. That's a gap of 580,000 units. And that is why we need a federal government that's going to take an expansive view of infrastructure and invest in the creation and preservation of affordable housing on a scale that we have not seen before. Our country deserves no less. And I yield back.
Thank you so much for those eye-opening remarks, and it gives me great pleasure at this